Welcome. Get good at solving work problems. I want to talk to you about this because it is important to keep you in the game of relevance at work and for you to focus on what truly matters at work. Now, a lot of people find it easy to be busy. Now, being busy is not hard. If you want to create that activity of I am busy, that is one of the easiest thing you can do. But you can be busy doing nothing. And if you want to be effective as a career professional and as a business owner as well, you need to be able to separate the fluff from the main thing. And the reason why I've talked about business owners is because it is so easy for you to do a lot of activities that have no impact on your bottom line. And you could be spending a lot of your time doing things that probably you shouldn't be doing. Now, I'm going to provide to you in this video a framework that is going to help you, or some tips that will help you focus and be effective at work. Okay, so from time to time, there will be a pain you are expected to support in resolving. From time to time, there will be that. Okay, and it is going to be sometimes complex, and sometimes it's going to be things you're already used to. So resolving them comes to you easily. Okay, but either ways, I want you to separate yourself from what you would typically see in workplaces. Things like the temptation to put a problem on your table and say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, I'll do it. Or for you to say, oh, this other team is delaying me. Once they do it, then I'll be able to do mine. Meanwhile, there is a sketch you could have. There is a skeleton you could do that while you wait for them. It's just a matter of plug and play by the time the other team is ready, but you're not doing it. And then once the other team is ready, it then takes you some extra hours, some extra days to actually put everything together. So while you were waiting, you could actually be doing something. There is that part. So people put problems on their table and they allow it, escalate and impact their reputation negatively. The other one people are so good at is talking about problems. They talk about problems. Like, I have seen this firsthand. There are people that are so fluent. They will talk about a problem this week, they will talk about a problem next week, they will talk about a problem again. And sometimes personally, I'm like, at what point do we actually solve this problem? Okay, so personally, when I see myself working with someone who has the tendency to talk more about the problem than do it, what I do is to apply this framework in dealing with them. Now, you are not going to talk too much about the problem. Now, it's okay for you to communicate, say the things are going and all of that, but that is not, you will be solution oriented. So you say, what is the pain? This is the pain. What is the solution we're looking at? What does the solution look like when we have it? Then you work from back to front, especially if you don't know the answer from where you currently are to what the solution is. So you work from back to front. So what does it look like when we have resolved these issues? So for instance, let me give you an instance. There is a reporting deadline you've got, or there is a deadline you've got, and you need to be able to turn in a particular report. For that to happen, a series of activities need to happen before you get there. So you're like, okay, before this report gets turned in, we need to have completed 5 tasks. Okay, so you take that 5 tasks, you say, okay, how long will it take us to get through those 5 tasks? And on what days do we absolutely need to get those tasks done? What do we need from others that will be an input into getting those tasks done? And who is responsible for getting those tasks done? Because it may not also be you. You may just be a lead and having people work with you. So another question may be, the people that will absolutely resolve this issue, do they have the competence or the competency they need to resolve this issue, or will I need to support them? And if I need to, at what point do I come in and support them? These are varied questions that you do need to ask, and your brain needs to be thinking quite rapidly about how you create support for your team to be able to achieve what your team needs to achieve. Okay, so instead of multiple meetings, creating meetings that are unnecessary, go straight to the problem. What problem do we have now? What meeting do we need to prepare for? What are the information? What's the information we need to prepare for this meeting? Go knee deep into the problem. Do not run away from a problem. Okay, now there are some key tips or key things I need you to think about. You need to ask for or create a deadline once there is a problem, especially if it's a project that nobody is talking about the timeline. Oh, we just have this project and we just need to resolve it. It doesn't matter when, let's just get it resolved. Without deadlines, all you've got is a fantasy. It's not going to get done. So you must always ask for what the deadline is. And when a deadline is communicated to you, have a tighter deadline that you communicate to those that are working with you to give you enough room to meet the general deadline. This is key. Anything you're working on that does not, even if it's for your personal side, private also, you must have a deadline. You must have some mini projects, including me making this video. I've got a deadline to make a number of videos before a particular time for my editor to be able to do our one piece of work. Okay, so you must have a deadline, else you've got a fantasy, else I won't be waking up very early, like before 5 a.m. on a Saturday morning to make videos before my kids get up, and then we have to spend the whole day together. So you must have a deadline, and that has to happen, and so that you don't create this fantasy where you do solve nothing. Okay, the next thing I will say to you is you have to communicate that timeline to all your stakeholders. So especially your boss. It will keep you accountable. Now, if there is a general deadline that your boss has communicated and you have a tighter deadline, you don't need to communicate your tighter deadline. It's fine for you to operate at your boss's deadline. Everybody else has to know. If you're leading a small team, they have to know what they are working towards. And that is where you come through as an effective, efficient leader. Those you're leading have to know where you are going. They have to have your vision, and part of it is communicating the deadline. Okay? Now, you must itemize what you must do. Everything that you must do to address every work problem you have has to be itemized. I've said that before. You must say, these are the series of tasks that has to happen. You must have it somewhere, maybe on an app, at work, on a calendar, on a sheet of paper. It has to be somewhere. You have to know everything, complete list of everything you have to do. You must know the number. You must know those ones that require external inputs, those ones that you have within your control to do, those ones that require further approvals and reviews. You must know them so that you would have a fair view of what is expected to be done before you hit your deadline. Okay, now beyond emails, I need you to pick your phone and call people to get things done. Get into the habit. Not everybody does it these days, of chat boxes and all of that. Pick your phone up and make that call. You'll be surprised, even to your boss, especially if you have a boss who delays on things, doesn't get things approved on time, pick your phone up and call them and say, you know what, I really need you to do this. Can you do it now so that the team can get going? You'll be surprised how that is going to work out. So pick up your phone and call your stakeholders to get things done for you. Okay? Now, this is key. Document your process via emails. You'll never know when something comes back to bite you. So document, especially when you're dealing with people, when you ask them to do things. Don't just send them chat boxes that disappears after 24 hours. Get on the phone, or not get on the phone. Write out that email to them so that it is properly documented, and continue to have those chats. Now you can have meetings, you can have phone calls or whatever, but if you think that this is important enough, please put it in an email. Okay? Now, tasks that come to you easily is not necessarily what the priority is. So a lot of people focus on tasks that they find easy. So they leave that troublesome problem alone. They focus on things that are easy for them to do. But that complex problem is what is the priority of your bosses, or that everybody's looking out to solve. So if there is a pain, in fact, personally, I like to really look at if something comes to me easily, Let me tell you another thing I do. If something comes to me easily, I can do it in my sleep. I am not going to do it because I'm not going to be learning anything new from it. Personally, I'm not going to be doing it. I'm going to be finding someone on my team to teach how to do it because they need it more, because they need to now learn the skills needed to do it. So if I find it easy to do, then because it's not going to have no value to me, I may not be adding so much value to it because I wouldn't even have that beginner mindset to change anything anyways because I'm so used to doing it my own way. So I'd rather teach somebody else to do it. Okay, so think about that as well. And that's why a lot of leaders, upcoming leaders, that's why sometimes they fail because they take things and say, oh, the time I was spent teaching somebody else to do it, I would have done it. But that is not the issue, because the time you would spend an hour teaching someone how to do something, but you'll be amazed that once they are able to do that one single task, related tasks, because you're not only teaching them how to do that task, you're also teaching them skills. Any task related to that, they will be able to go and do it for you subsequently. So it's like buying your time in the future. You need to understand these things. So spend time teaching your team on how to do things while you focus on more complex, more strategic things. Okay, so one of the best ways for you to build problem solving skills is for you to have conversations about your views of problems. If you want to be effective, you want to be able to get problems solved, get into the habit of sharing your views about work problems. So once there is a problem, immediately do a quick research. Immediately, before anybody even calls you into a meeting or anything, do a quick research and have a view. I didn't learn this thing on time and I wished I did. Immediately, you get into a meeting, you come out of the meeting. Coming out of that meeting is a problem that has been identified that needs to be resolved. Don't say, oh, whatever, I'll deal with it next week. No, it's not going to take you anything for you to say this problem. What is it? What is it? Look for a summary document that can help you quickly understand the problem. Think about, okay, where can I, because you're not trying to solve it in that instance, you're just trying to get a view. And you're trying to line up your own thought process. Once you line up your own thought process and can have a view, the next meeting you're attending or the next conversation you're having with your boss is your own view about the problem. You'll be surprised how much they will value that. You need to get good at solving work problems. Instead of talking and talking and talking, get into the habit of seeing a problem and formulating how you resolve it, using the resources around you, the people around you, teaching others to help you, having a deadline in mind, having the understanding of everything you need to do to get that work done. Most importantly, having a view about complex work problems. If you did enjoy this video, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, you like, you share, and you leave me some comments so I can engage with you. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.